Okay, you guys, I need to reshare this stream with y'all because this one is in season again. At first, I was going to reshare because I need to make a correction to it. There was something I left out. Jesus is Lord, y'all. I've mentioned before that oftentimes some of these dreams intimidate me, and God has to break them down for me. Literally, I had to sit with God, the Holy Spirit, and He literally has to help me break these dreams down. I can't do it by myself. And so basically, there was one part of this dream that I brushed past, and I didn't ask God about it because I just thought it was a coincidence. And God showed me afterwards, after I released the dream, it wasn't a coincidence, and He let me know what it meant. And so I need to make that correction on this video. But on top of that, God also said that this dream is in season right now, okay? So this one is called Recompense. It's called Recompense. And God added, get far away and don't look back, okay? I'm going to let y'all listen to the dream, and I'm going to add the correction. It's some other stuff that was in this dream that I did not add because I think at the time I recorded it, I was recording it on TikTok, and the time limit was 10 minutes, and I was trying to get a lot of information out in 10 minutes. So I'm going to add the other stuff, too, that God shed light on for me to share in this video, later in this video, okay? All right, y'all, here's the dream. Hey y'all, okay, I need to share another prophetic dream with you guys. This one is called Recompense. It's called Recompense, and God also added to it, He added, get far away and don't look back, okay? So this one He called Recompense, and He added, get far away and don't look back. Okay, so in this dream, I'm in this grocery store. It's a nice size grocery store with a friend of mine. And we're in the same aisle together, and then I leave to go to a different aisle. And when I go to this other aisle, all of a sudden people are screaming and running towards the front of the store. They're rushing to get out of the store. So I'll see people screaming from one side, running from the back of the store, trying to get out. I don't know what they're running from. I can feel their fear. I can feel the urgency, but I don't know what they're running from. And so I'm like, what's going on? You know, I don't know if it's a shooter in the store. I don't know what's going on because I didn't hear anything. I just see them running. And so then I'm like, well, I need to go back and get my friend. And then when I turn back to go get my friend from the aisle she was on, I see people running from that aisle too. So I was rationalizing everything. And then I just had this urgency to get out of there, to just get out of there immediately. And I was just hoping that she had got out already, right? So, but I still couldn't see it. I couldn't see what they were running from. I just knew that we all had to leave immediately. So there was this urgency, and it almost felt like someone was literally pressing on my back, pushing me out of that place. So I began to run to the exit with everyone else. I was probably one of the last ones getting out of there, and I literally felt something pushing me out to get out of that place. So as soon as I got out of there, y'all, I can fly in my dreams. So as soon as I got out of there, I flew to the top of the building. Like there was something hanging on like the front side of the building, and I sat on it. I flew up there and I sat on it because I wanted to see what was going on. Again, I was still concerned about my friend, and I didn't know if she made it out. So once I got up there, I was really scared because I could feel it in the air. I was really scared. And so I lifted both my hands and went to God in prayer. When I went to God in prayer, the dream shifted, and it took me to what felt like a different dimension. And I was in a different place. And I was praying and asking God for help with the situation. And after I prayed and asked Him for help, when I finished the prayer, I opened my eyes and I was back at the top of the building, right? And after I finished the prayer and I was back there, that same ledge I was sitting on, all of a sudden my daughter was sitting there with me too, and she wasn't there before. And so when I see her, all of a sudden she starts to pee on the building. She starts to pee like right in the front of the building. And I'm like, oh God, what are you doing? It was so random. And right after that, I look up and I see these robots that are coming towards the building. There are two giant robots. They're like either white or silver. They look more white or shimmery, like depending on the lighting. And so as they're giants though. And so as they start approaching the building, I have a knowing that they're coming as an answered prayer, right? I just said that prayer and they're coming as an answered prayer. So I'm like, okay, cool. But the closer they get to me, I start to get nervous. And when they get close enough to me to where they can reach out and touch me, then I get like really scared and I know I need to leave, right? And so I hurry up and I fly off from the building, and I'm flying away from the building. And I'm so nervous, y'all. I fly up as high as I can. And as I'm looking down at what's going on the earth, so I'm getting away from the store. I look down, I see a field. It's filled, with green grass. And all of a sudden that field crumbles from underneath. The ground is broken up and I see red mixtures in it. And I'm thinking it was lava. I don't know if it was fire or lava, but I feel more so that it was lava. I was really high up, and I just see the ground. 1 minute it's a field filled with green grass. The next minute it's the ground is breaking up right up under me, and it's like red and like lava and everything in it. And that was the dream. I popped up from that dream like, oh my God, why? Because I don't like dreams like that, because those dreams are so intense. And so later that day, I was talking to God about this dream, and I was asking him about it, and I heard him say recompense. He said recompense. And so I know a lot of people are expecting all these good things, and we're expecting double, but he wants us to be aware that it's coming on both sides. Double is coming on both sides. Whatever you sow, be it good or be it bad, it's coming on both sides. And so some places and some people that God is calling us away from. And it's so important that when he tells you to leave, you leave. It is so very important. There was an urgency to get out of that place. He was about to deal with that place. That place was about to get dealt with. And there was an urgency to get out of there, okay? When I went up to the top to pray, I asked for help. So many of y'all have been asking for help for so many situations. I mean, and it may have seemed like God hasn't heard you, or you're not sure if he heard you. You've been asking for help for a while, and he heard you. He has heard you. And again, I'm hearing recompense. And so when I fly up to that building and I pray, right after that, my daughter appears and she pees on the building. I'm like, God, what was that about? And then I heard wasteland. It's as if the building had been marked, and he referred to it now as a wasteland, right? So these giant robots are coming our way that are all white. And I've had dreams in the past with robots in it. Y'all, I like sci-fi stuff, but I have the understanding of what God is showing me when he shows me certain things. So but anyways, these robots were way bigger than any of the ones, that I've seen before. These were like giant ones. And I had a knowing that they were coming as an answered prayer. But once they got close enough to where they could touch me, I was afraid, right? So it's some things in places that God is going to have to deal with that are coming to people in places that have been, sowing bad for a long time. And when those things come to deal with them, you don't want to be in the vicinity, because then you will be close enough to where you can be affected as well, right? When God deals with certain people, you can't be in the vicinity, or whatever he's dishing out to them will affect you as well if you are close enough for it to touch you as well, okay? Literally, when I shot off in the sky to fly off, right, to get to safety, the ground beneath me began to crumble, right? At first, it was a green field, and the ground beneath me broke up. Everything broke up, y'all. I've never seen nothing like this in my life. Everything broke up, and it looked like the earth was mixed with lava. That's what it looked like, okay? The message God gave me, again, it was the urgency with it. If he's calling you out of a place, come out of the place. He added, get far away and don't look back. And then I also heard righteous judgment. I heard righteous judgment, righteous vindication, righteous glory, and recompense. Okay, that's what I heard. And then he also related this story to me to Sodom and Gomorrah, and he had me look over that, and I felt this in my spirit. He was bringing up where he called Lot and his family out of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the angels held off on destroying it until they were out in the clear. But Lot's wife looked back, and when she looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt. Okay, go to God in prayer about everything for direction for your situation. Some of y'all have come out of places already, and he's already given you instruction. So just trust him, because whatever is about to take place, only he knows. You don't know, and he's trying to protect you. So if he tells you to get away and don't look back, then you need to do that, because it will affect you as well. And some people, you may not be able to get away yet, but your time will come soon. And soon as God gives you the green light, soon as he gives you the provision, soon as he does whatever you're waiting on him to do, and some things he's waiting on you to do too, so you get with him on that. But soon as that happens, you better get far away very quickly and don't look back. There was an urgency on that. There was an urgency. Once you leave that place you're in, it will turn into a wasteland, okay? God was showing me that some of y'all don't see the danger in staying in a certain place. Okay, but it's very dangerous. I didn't see the danger in staying in that store. I didn't see what they were running from. I didn't see why they were afraid. I didn't see the danger, but I ran anyway. There was an urgency to get out of there. You may not understand why, but if God told you to leave a place, if God told you to leave a relationship, there's an urgency for that reason. And you may not understand why, or have to know why. I didn't know until I flew away and I saw what became of it when I left. Okay? Once you leave that place, it will turn into a wasteland. In some cases, God is holding it off just long enough for you to get away. All right? I love y'all. And I hope this helped who it was for. I love y'all, and y'all be blessed. Okay, you guys. All right, y'all. So y'all heard the dream. Now, I'm going to add some things that I didn't have in there initially. And like I said, it was just because I didn't have a lot of time to add this stuff. And I wasn't sure what all of it meant. But anyways, so the beginning of this dream, like I said, I was in a grocery store with my friend. Her name was Ashley. And sometimes I call her Ash for short. And when God told me he wanted me to re-release this dream and make the correction as well, I listened to the original. I mentioned before, you guys, that I record all my dreams. And so I listened to the original, and it was funny because in the original, I said I was looking for Ash, right? Because my friend's name is Ashley, but I call her Ash for short. And that was as if to suggest that that place would be turned into ashes or something like that, right? That's what I was getting from that part. And I never did see her. I never seen her leave the store. I never, even when I was waiting around for her because I was there with her and I wanted to make sure she got out safe, but I never saw her leave. I never, saw her even when I was on top of the building. Okay, so that was just something he wanted me to point out. And then, y'all, I have a lot of dreams. So sometimes I forget certain things, y'all, until I go back and listen to them. And so I've completely forgot about this part. And I didn't mention it before because I didn't know what God wanted me to add, regarding this part. And so when I was looking for my friend Ashley in the store before I left, while everybody was running, screaming, running for their lives, I went looking for her. And when I looked down one aisle, I saw a woman who looked like she was going through deliverance. Like she was just spazzing out. And I had the understanding that she had some in her. And it looked like she was going through a deliverance, or that's what I said on the recording. I said on the recording that I looked down one aisle and this woman was, spazzing out like she's going through some type of deliverance. Like I could clearly see it was something on her. And it appeared that, she was going through some type of deliverance and she was kind of, freaking everybody out in the store a little bit. But they were not running from her. Okay, so I didn't mention her in that 10 minutes because I knew even though she was going through whatever she was going through, they weren't running from her. The urgency I felt coming from everybody was bigger than her. Like, she was passing out in that moment, but, going through her deliverance, but nobody was running from her. It was something else that they were running from. And I didn't know what it was. I just knew I had to get out. There was an urgency that was way bigger than, it was an urgency that was bigger than that woman in the aisle or whatever. But Jesus is Lord. When I listen to this now, my mind was blown because God has been talking about a lot of deliverances that are taking place as well. So my mind was blown as God was putting all this together. And I almost feel like he didn't want me to share that part until now. And so anyways, that's something else he wanted me to mention because that was taking place in that building as well. Okay, something else God wanted me to mention was when my daughter peed on a building in a dream, okay? Now, I mentioned before that my daughter's name is Zion. Her name is Zion. And oftentimes, God uses my daughter as an example, as a reflection of his body, right? The kingdom of Zion. So it was like when she peed on that building, it was as if she was marking it, as if the building had been marked by Zion. This is where God was talking about dealing with our enemies. And Jesus is Lord, that vengeance was his. It's as if that building, that land had been marked for Zion. And also something else that I heard when I listened to the recording that stood out was we were sitting on a flagpole. Now, I can't tell you if the flag was on the pole or not. So I'm not going to lie. I don't know if the flag was hanging from the pole or not. But when we flew to the top of the building, she peed on the flagpole, okay? So we were sitting on a flagpole. That's, of the building or whatever. And that's something else that God caused to stand out, like he was dealing with the nation. Y'all, I try to say only what I'm feeling from God. I don't want to add too much. I only want to add what he's given me. So I'm just trying to tread lightly there. But he did cause it to stand out that we were sitting on a flagpole. Okay, and that she peed there, and that marked the building. The building had been marked, and it was about to be a wasteland. It had been marked by Zion, and it was about to be a wasteland. Okay, now this next part is the part I need to make a correction to, okay? Oh my God, y'all. So the part when the two robots came, I kind of passed over that part, because I do like sci-fi. I normally like to watch any type of movies or shows with superpowers, like Marvel, DC, sci-fi. I love anything dealing with superpowers, right? So those are my kinds of movies, my kinds of shows. So sometimes if I watch something, or even if I played a game or something right before I went to sleep, what I saw would kind of bleed over into my dream. And so I just kind of brushed over this, this is just robots in this dream because I like robots. I like movies with robots in it. So I just made that assumption because this is not the first dream that I had with robots in it. And so I just made that assumption. And so when I finished recording this dream and posted it and everything, I felt like it was more. I felt like I left something out. I could literally feel it. Y'all hear me sometimes jump right back on a recording and say, I had to add something else. I may jump back on the recordings multiple times because God will be adding more things and it doesn't feel like it's finished. The word that he gave me didn't feel finished. And that's how I felt after I released this. And so sometimes I just literally feel like I feel God looking at me sometimes and I look back at him, I don't know how to explain it, but I just felt like something was missing. And God was looking at me and he was quiet. And I said, "There's something missing." And he was quiet. And there are times I felt overwhelmed with the amount of information he's given me. And it's times I asked him to hold off a little bit because it's a lot of information, y'all. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of things that I didn't even know were a thing before. I didn't even believe in witchcraft until 2022. I didn't even know any of that stuff was real. My way of learning about it was experiencing it, having someone actually, attack me with it, for me sharing these prophetic words and dreams. So a lot of this stuff was kind of blowing my mind. And I had asked God, I said, it was too much information. And I asked him, to hold off for a minute. And so he was respecting my wishes with that. And so once I realized that that's what was going on. So once I realized that he was holding it back intentionally to respect, my wishes and what I could handle, I told him, okay, I get it. And I told him he can tell me. He can tell me. He can show me. And once I did that, you guys, he blew my mind. He started showing me AI like crazy, like everything in my phone. I don't really scroll much, but when I was looking, I was seeing AI everything, AI this, AI that. He kept putting even articles of AI in front of me, and long story short, you guys, the robots were a representation of AI, okay? The robots were a representation of AI. And he confirmed it for me. I was going over this with him for a couple of days because I'm like, it was just a lot. It was a lot to take in. And basically, that's the correction I need to make to this particular dream, that the robots were not just, because I like sci-fi. The robots, the two shimmery robots I saw were a reflection of AI, okay? And it felt like they were coming as an answered prayer. However, when they got close enough to reach out and touch me, I felt afraid and I had to immediately fly away. Okay? I felt like it was time to go when it got close enough to reach out and touch me. Okay? Jesus is Lord, y'all. And that's it. I just needed to specify that that's what that was. It was a reflection of AI, and I just needed to put that out there. All right. And then something else that stood out. God was, he shined light on the fact that I said that I felt intimidated, right? The closer the robots got to me, I felt intimidated. He said that some of the things we may receive may intimidate us, okay? The blessings that he's about to pour out on you may be intimidating. Some of the things that you may receive may intimidate you. And he also said some of the things you may see as well may intimidate you because he's going to be dealing with the world. He's going to be moving on both sides. It's going to be in a way that you've never imagined or seen. He also put emphasis on moving in silence as he deals with the world. But this is definitely a word for people who he is transitioning right now, which is heavy in season. He's been telling a lot of y'all to prepare. And the instructions are to get far away and don't look back. Okay, and he just wanted me to repeat, what he told me when I released this dream. I was hearing righteous judgment. Okay, during this time, we'll be experiencing righteous judgment, righteous vindication, and righteous glory. And then he added recompense. Okay, so get far away, don't look back. God will be dealing with the world. We will experience righteous judgment, righteous vindication, righteous glory, and recompense, okay? All right, you guys, that was it. That was all he wanted me to add to this word. I love y'all. I pray this blesses whoever it's for. Sorry I didn't have it right in the beginning, but I just needed to add that. And that's all he gave me to add with it so far, okay? All right, y'all. I love y'all so much. I love y'all, and y'all be blessed. Okay, you guys, this is one more thing he wanted me to add that I forgot to mention. When I listened to my original recording, it stood out to me that I said the foundation was broken up, okay? So when I flew away from that building, the moment I flew away, it's as if the foundation beneath me was broken up, of the ground beneath me, right? 1 minute it's green grass. And I did say on the recording I saw fire and lava, but I don't know, I was just feeling more from the lava, but I did say on the recording I saw both. But it was the part that he caused to stand out was the foundation being broken up. And that's if to say that basically the land, the land that store was sitting on, that building had been marked, but God was going to break it up from the foundation. The whole land it was sitting on was going to be broken up. It was going to be destroyed, basically. Okay. So I don't know. He just wanted me to add that part. As he was dealing with that place, it will be broken up from its foundation. Okay, it will be broken up from its foundation. Jesus is Lord. There was really no safe place for me to stand in that area because he was dealing with it at the root. It was going to be broken up from its foundation. He's mentioned that he's been establishing a firm foundation within us. So we won't be easily moved. And here, he caused it to stand out when I record. Oftentimes when I would do the recordings as well, I find myself saying things that I normally don't say, that are outside of my vocabulary. And I literally said it's like the foundation was being broken up. So he will be dealing with the foundation of the world. Jesus is Lord. I feel led to say the foundation of the land. He will be dealing with it. It will be broken up. Okay. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. And y'all be blessed. Okay, you guys. There was something else I needed to add. I just got to get everything out in obedience. So there was something else I needed to add. Back at the very beginning of the dream, remember I told y'all my friend name was Ashley. Okay, the dream started with me and Ashley, my friend Ashley. We were grocery shopping together. We were literally grocery shopping together. That's as far as I can remember of how the dream started. We were in the store grocery shopping together. And then next thing you know, I'm thinking we needed a different item on a different aisle. I could kill two birds with one stone, let her finish shopping on that aisle, and then I was going to go find the other item we needed, right? So when I leave Ashley's side, we are separated in that moment, okay? Jesus is Lord. God wanted me to shine light on this because he shined light on it. There was a separation that took place between me and Ash. Something he was causing to stand out was I was separated from Ash. I call her Ash as a nickname. I was separated from Ash. Okay? So once I left that aisle, I was separated from Ash. And soon as me and her were separated, that's when everybody started running and screaming out of nowhere. Literally, once I left that aisle, we were once sharing. Once I left the aisle, we were on together. Once we were separated, that's when everybody started to run. That's when everybody started to scream out of nowhere. And I had no idea what was going on, okay? So God was just shining light about, the separation, how this is tied to the separation. And that he was separating us from the ashes. He was trading us, basically. I was hearing beauty for your ashes, okay? So that was kind of cool because he made that stand out. He said, I separated you from Ash. Me and her were separated. And he just wanted me to shed light on the fact that he was separating us from the ashes, okay? Jesus is Lord. And something else he brought up, I was going to eventually make a separate video for this, but I'm just going to add this in this video since it's something he brought up. Everybody that God is separating you from is not a bad person, okay? Like, Jesus is Lord. Everybody that God is separating you from or causing you to separate from in this season is not necessarily like someone who's been unkind to you, someone who's traded you evil from good for good, right? A lot of us know that God has been separating us from people who have been abusing us. A lot of them have been narcissists or carry that spirit or whatever. But everybody that he's separating you from is not for that reason. There are some people he's separating you from because they are in the way. They're in the way of your growth and development, okay? Now, it's some people in my life that he separated me from, not because they were, were mean to me or, they traded me for good. Some of them were very encouraging and uplifting. But he separated me from them because he said one of the reasons they were getting in the way. Y'all, I've mentioned that I'm an introvert. I can be soft-spoken sometimes. And where God was calling me to, he wanted me to himself. He wanted to shape and mold me. And he didn't want nobody else's hands in the mix. If you have a tendency to people please or to always want the opinion of others, God is calling you away from that. You have to have a relationship with God for yourself. He wants you to be listening for his voice. Now, he may connect you with people to follow, to give you confirmation. But your relationship is not based upon prophetic words you hear. It's not based upon a teaching from a pastor you hear. All these things are just meant to aid you in your growth and development with God and in this walk that you have with God, right? For your own individual life, for your own individual purpose, right? But your most important relationship is with God. So some people, you had people around you, and maybe you were soft-spoken, and maybe you were a people pleaser, or maybe you had people influencing you with their opinion, even if they meant well. Like I said, all these people are not bad people. But for a season, God may call you away from even some of the people who were positive because he wants you to himself to shape and mold you, okay? To shape and mold you. And he did not want their hands in the mix. And I have experienced this, and it was hard for me. It has been hard, but I've covered those people in prayer. And they may not understand. Maybe one day they will, maybe they won't. But at the end of the day, I had to obey God. There's also people he separated me from. Again, I can be soft-spoken. And sometimes God will use certain people to confirm things for me. And then those same people would think that they told me something, and, and they would take credit for it. Jesus is Lord. I'm just going to give you an example. So God showed me something. God would share something with me, right? And then he would end up using one of those people to confirm it, because he knew I was going to talk to him later that day. He would use them. He would give them the same idea. Mind you, me and God has already talked about this. He would give them the same idea just because he knew they were going to talk to me later, and he would have them bring it up, and it would be confirmation. And I'm like, oh, that's confirmation, right? God was just talking to me about this earlier, right? But then when I actually went out and did the thing that God was leading me to do, and he just used them to confirm it, they took credit for it. Jesus is Lord. They took credit for it like it was their idea. And when that happened, God was looking at me like, you already know. You already know what you got to do. And I'm like, why is this person, why are they talking like that? Why are they taking credit for it? And God has literally separated me from a person in my life because they were taking credit for my growth and development. And God said, what he's about to do in my life, no human being is going to get the credit for. I'm in his hands. He's shaping and molding me. He is shaping and molding you guys into who he created you to be. And no one is going to get the credit for what he's doing in your life but him. Okay? He will share with you his glory, but none of these people around you going to say that you got to where you're going to because they did something. They did nothing. God is doing it. It's his hands on this. Okay, you guys? Jesus is Lord. He is a jealous God, and so many times we have not given him credit where credit is due. He's going to get the credit from all of this. Everything that's about to take place in your life, he's going to get the glory. He's going to get the credit. And that was just something very important he wanted me to mention, okay? And then also, Lord have mercy. So some of the people God is separating you from can be close to home. They can be friends or family. He shed light on the relationship I have with my friend Ashley. Ashley is one of my eldest friends. I've been knowing her since I was little. And we have the type of friendship to where we can go months or even a year or so without talking. But when I see her, there's no love lost. She is like family to me. Okay, so she's a representation of a friend or a family member. She's like family to me. Her mother is like my mother. Her family has been like family to me. And so that's what that was a reflection of. But God is separating you from ash. Okay, he's trading you beauty for ashes. Okay. And even though I was looking for her, I wasn't going to find her. I had, once we were separated, that was that. So I lingered in that store all that time looking for her, to where I was almost like the last one in there. When I was just about the last person in that store, I saw a hand appear out of nowhere. This hand was large, a large hand. I didn't mention this in a dream. I didn't mention this on the previous video, but I literally saw a hand appear, like it was spirit, like the hand. It's hard to describe, but I saw an actual hand appear, a large hand. It was either God's hand or an angel's hand, but it appeared out of nowhere, and it literally pushed me out of the store. So I'm still looking for Ash, and I don't see her. I'm trying to find her, right? She's a good friend. I didn't want to leave her. So I was still looking for her. And, something else that I did not mention that God just wanted me to add. When I was looking for her and I was like the last person in the store, when I looked to the front of the store by the exit, I saw two children standing by the exit, and they were just standing there. So everybody running out, and I just see these two kids, and they just standing there by the exit. And I'm like, where are their parents? So you guys, so I'm like, where are their parents? Is somebody going to get these kids? And I'm worried about all this other stuff. So I mentioned it on my original recording, so I just wanted to add it all on here. I saw two kids standing by the exit, and I was wondering where their parents was somebody going to help them get out of the store? And then out of nowhere, that's where this large hand appeared out of nowhere, and I felt it press against my back, and it pushed me out the store so fast. I didn't even go through the doors. I was pushed through the wall. Jesus is Lord. Okay, you guys. So I mentioned before that sometimes I have superpowers in my dreams. I can fly in my dreams. It's times I've ran as fast as the Flash. Anything that I can think of to do in my dreams, I can do. And I think around that time I have been watching Hero too. But anyways, on that show, there's a superpower where you can walk through walls, right? You can actually walk through walls. One of the people has that superpower to where they can walk through walls. And in this part of the dream, when that hand appeared behind me and pushed me so fast out of that store, it literally pushed me through the wall, and I basically used that superpower, and I didn't want to have to explain all that. So I went through a wall. I didn't even go through the front door because I was lingering. Jesus is Lord. And my whole point for saying this is when God is trying to transition you to a place, if you linger, if you stay there too long, you may be forced out, okay? Because of the danger that's there. So they were trying to wait till I got away from the building to dish out that judgment, to dish out that recompense, to deal with that place. But if you linger there for too long after God has already told you to go, you may be pushed out. You may be forced out. I was pushed out of that store because I was lingering, waiting around, looking for Ash. And that was someone I was being separated from in this particular dream, okay? Me and my friend still good, but that was in a dream. That's what she was being a representation of, with her name being Ashley and me calling her Ash, okay? All right, you guys. That was it, I believe. I pray that was it. Let me just see real quick if there's anything else God wants me to add. Jesus is Lord. Yep, that was it. He wanted me to put emphasis on the fact that he's given some of y'all the chance to move and do what he told you to do on your own. Some people are waiting for provision, but God may have told you to pack. God may have told you to do some other things and you haven't done it. And he's trying to make this doesn't have to be hard for you. So when God tells you to pack, if you're prepared, it makes everything easier because everything happens so fast, right? Everything happens so fast because there was an urgency. There was an urgency for us to get out of that place. And some of you are in a position where there's an urgency for you as well. So long story short, you guys, just do whatever God is leading you in this season, during this time, no matter what things look like. Trust what God is telling you. And what I really just been feeling from him is he's going to get the glory from all of it. Everything is going to have his name written on it. Stop trying to figure out how he's going to do what he's going to do and just obey. And just obey him. And stay in his face and just be continually led by God, guided by God, and in a place of complete surrender and obedience with whatever he's doing, whatever he desires to do in and through your life, okay? And if there's anybody God brings to mind, keep them in prayer, okay? You can cover the people you love with prayer and separate from them out of obedience, all right? Jesus is Lord. All right, you guys. Okay, something else God is bringing up, so let me just say it out of obedience. I mentioned before that some people are battling with spiritual warfare at this time. And it's been at a heightened level. One thing I forgot to mention on that video was some of the thoughts that the enemy may be bringing to mind. He may be giving you bad thoughts towards the people God is separating you from. God does not want you to have a hard heart towards these people. We don't move in unforgiveness. So we forgive. We understand that it's the demonic spirits that these people were wrestling with is why we're separating from them. And, just bringing up the fact that I saw somebody who was receiving deliverance in one of those aisles, and she was fighting it. That woman was fighting that deliverance. But she was going to get that deliverance, but she was in there fighting it. Whatever was on her that thing had her deep. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. She was having a battle within on that aisle. But like I said, we weren't running from her, but that's something that was occurring during that time. So God wants you to be blameless as you move in silence and you do what he's telling you to do. Do not let the enemy have your heart in a posture it's not supposed to be in. We don't hate people. We love them. That's a commandment from our Father. You can separate from a person. You can cut a person off and still love them. Okay? Forgive them. Jesus is Lord. Learning to love with the love of God. Not wishing bad on them, okay? So, yes, we need to transition like God is calling us to do, but make sure our hearts are in a proper heart posture. The enemy has been bringing negative thoughts towards the people God is separating us from, he's trying to have us do it in a way that will let him back in. So you don't want to do that either. Okay? Jesus is Lord. The scripture that's coming to mind, is whatever thoughts are good, lovely, a good report. If anything is praiseworthy, let's think on those things. You just want to make sure you have the mind of Christ and handle all of these things in a way that is pleasing to God, okay? And whoever God leads you to pray for, that's who you pray for, okay? But just remember that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but it's the spirit in a person. So even if God gave you permission to separate from that person for good, for life, we still forgive as we move forward in transition. All right? And the prayer is they will receive deliverance and they will receive correction. And hopefully, God can save them. Hopefully they will surrender to God. It's the prayer, okay? All right, y'all. I love y'all so much. I just had to add that. And I believe that was everything. Sorry this is so long. I love y'all so much. That was it. And y'all be blessed.